I wouldn't say that she's unaware of her situation and how her visual impairment affects her life, but I think she's very determined on not letting that define her as a person.
Ben just wants people to look at him as if he's not in that wheelchair. And I think that's what people have to look at those people like. They're human too, and they have pride as well.
The highlight for us was that when the gallery head said to everybody present that they hadn't chosen this show because it was about disability, but it was about the quality of the art. And that's exactly what we wanted to hear. So.
It's difficult to know how people will react when they meet someone with autism or another disability. Whatever can be done to help educate people, I think the more people will be accepting.
You can.
Nothing's more fun than making a chair move fast. No drug and no drink can compare. When you're going fast, that adrenaline rush, when it kicks in, nothing beats it. My first is to push my wheelchair as fast as I can get it. Second responsibility, be the best athlete I can be. Take care of myself. Eat clean, train hard, train plenty, be smart. Third, if kids want an autograph, no questions asked, sign. My coach came up to me that I have now and asked me if I knew his prof, and said yeah, and we looked at doing a fitness test, and I did this fitness test in March of 2009. He said I had the potential for wheelchair racing. I didn't really want to do it at first, but he convinced me to come out. I fell flat on my back within a couple minutes, and I've stuck with it since. I grew up on a dairy and produce farm. Eventually we went into horse farming near the end of it. You're either born to like farming or you're born not to like it, and I was just not born to be a farmer, so I got a lonely heart. I appreciate where I grew up from now. Like, it instilled some really good values on me and stuff like that, but at the time I just didn't really like it. Now I appreciate it, and I mean, you always got to thank the farmers, because if you didn't have farmers, you wouldn't have food on the plate. So put your arms around me and we'll make it to the sunrise. Where could you go ride your four-wheeler, dirt bike, or snowmobile? Or where could you even start up before the neighbors, you know, called 911 because all you hear is a four-wheeler? Before my parents got divorced, I was looking either after my grandmother or just working on the farm, or I'd be hanging out with my friends. And then once my parents got divorced, then Dad bought a four-wheeler, and that was pretty much it. Like, every weekend I was down at Dad's unless the bike was broke. Well, I was out on the trails or the sand pits or the racetrack with my buddies. I mean, now that I train full-time, I don't have the time or the money to go ride snowmobiles or ATVs, right? So, mind you, I do miss it from time to time, but I mean, like, all I got to do is watch my buddies take a rip and I'm good to go. The sound enough is good enough for me.
My name is Marie Babb. My business is Melee Design. My design, Canada. I like that one. Here are my collection. Here are my fabric. Here are my dresses up there. And my Barbie doll. I'll tell you about my Barbie doll. Yeah. This is my Barbie doll. Take care. Here's Mom.
Where's that Power Rangers drawing?
It's right here.
Okay, let's open that up. So this one was printed right to size. And
You're having a hole there.
there's a little hole, yeah, where you wore through with your marker.
Where about my marker?
So that's okay because It doesn't show on the dress.
That's my dress.
So this one here, Marie, you want to tell us about this?
In my first was born. Yeah, print our dresses.
Your sister worked with you on that.
Yeah,
So
I'm
Millie
drawing
drew
them
this
in.
one,
By this one.
and Marie did all the rest.
I was like, I don't know what she'll do with this. And then the thing that I didn't even think about at all was the dots. I was like, no, that's like a little like thing that she'll probably add at the end, but I'm sure that won't change too much. But that's the thing that changed the most.
And one of these is of her logo. hasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Which one is it? Which is your logo on there, Marie? Can you find it? Whoopsie.
Which is the logo?
There it is. That one.
Mm-hmm.
That one there with the big circle. And then so when we printed it, we made sure Millie's got on there too.
Yeah.
So we've included Millie's lemon in there because it was an example of an art lesson, really. One of the dresses that's going to be in Atlantic Fashion Week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful work, both of you, right?
Thank you.
Because this wouldn't exist without, a lesson.
I keep trying to tell myself to think more like Marie.
I love you.
I love you too.
Blood pounds through her veins. They don't understand what she's going through. They don't see it like she does. And she's tired of trying to explain why she runs away over and over again.
Much better, much better. I think you could bring even a little more intensity in the second time through. Like the ornamentation is beautiful, but I think performance-wise and emotionally, I think you can just dig in a little bit more. Just like ham it up a bit more the second
She
time.
flies away to dreams to somewhere she'll be safe and warm, but dreams are just a smokescreen. When she wakes, she'll be back in the storm. She's reaching out, breaking free.
I wrote it because I have a phobia of bugs. And like anything that buzzes, because I can hear it and I don't know where it is or what it's gonna do to me. That came out of my frustration.
I do remember first starting out, she wasn't always a great singer. I remember driving around in our car one day and she was in the back seat singing, and Jeff and I looked at each other and we said, thank goodness she's smart, because she's not gonna get anywhere with singing.
Yeah.
But she certainly has proved us wrong.
What feeling do you get when you're able to, really nail a song or a string of notes, and you're like, oh, yeah, that sounded great?
Well, that doesn't happen very often because I'm a perfectionist. It's something that doesn't happen very often, but when it does, that's what I'm doing for the next couple of days, is practicing to make sure I can keep it.
I first heard about the story of the Titanic in 1996 when I learned about a major expedition to the wreck site that was taking place. A year later, though, was in 97, I saw a documentary on the Discovery Channel called Titanic: Anatomy of a Disaster, and that solidified my obsession with the Titanic. Yes, this here is my favorite Titanic book. This actually contains a lot of the information from that Titanic Anatomy of a Disaster documentary that I was referring to. Those Discovery Channel docs were a big thing for me. And then in 1998, when there was another expedition to the wreck site happening that summer, we broadcast 2 specials on it. One of them was called Titanic Live. It was aired on simultaneously on NBC and the Discovery Channel. It was a live broadcast from the Titanic wreck site, and the submersible, the French submersible that was actually diving to the wreck site, they actually had live footage from inside the sub. I can't really explain it. It's just something I was always interested in. Not something you really can't explain, some of these things. My name is Alex Kronstein. I am 30 years old. I am autistic. I work in the film and video production industry. For me, especially with documentary work, the storytelling aspect is a big thing. There are 6 types of documentaries, as they say. Expository, observational, participatory, performative, reflexive, and poetic.
So what would you say that this style doc would be?
This would be expository for sure. Started when I was very young. My father worked at ATV ASN for many years, and my mother worked in the media business for a long time too. My parents actually met when they were both working at ATV ASN, and they had me in the studio before I could walk or talk, from what, at least that's what I'm told.
Ladies and gentlemen, making his television debut with a drum solo, this is Alexander Kronstein. Go! Whoa, yeah!
Growing up, I didn't really have many close friends. I was a happy loner. I didn't really need to play with anyone else. I didn't really want to play with anyone else. I graduated from the Radio and Television Arts program at NSCC Waterfront Campus in 2015. It didn't have anything to do with following in my parents' footsteps, because that it wasn't. I was doing it for my own personal reasons.
Well, he has incredible attention to detail and a memory. You know, I've been teaching 22 years, so the older I get, the more I forget. And so it, you know, after a while it became the running joke. If somebody asked me a question about something, and I would say, well, that's in chapter 15, and he would immediately put up his hand, no, Steve, that's 14.2, page, you know, and he was right every single time.
It's just something I've always done, really. It's one of those things you can't quite explain. To an outsider, per se, who is someone who doesn't really know me very well, it can be difficult to understand why these little things matter so much to me. They just do, really.
Today we're having a fundraising ride and push, help fundraise some money towards OIDA, which is in just over 3 weeks in Japan. OIDA is a marathon that's been going on for 36 years in Japan now. It starts in the city and goes around the whole region, I believe. There's going to be about 64 guys. See how it goes.
Back in the days, 1960 was the first Paralympics, and they had wheelchair races on there, and it basically was 60 meters on the crusher dust track. People were racing in their hospital chairs. That's what they looked like. It's come a long way since technology equipment has improved. We're now looking at wheelchairs that are fully made out of carbon fiber. They have only 3 wheels, so 2 big wheels in the back and 1 in the front. On a road, they can reach up to 70 to 80 kilometers on a downhill.
Okay, where are the potholes? Stop.
I'd say wheelchair racing, out of all the things I've done and the sports I've done, is the hardest sport I've competed in, because it's so technical. Everybody's push style is different, but you have to make your push style work to make you the best wheelchair racer you can be.
And then as you said, then when you went like this, I looked at it, it's like, okay, I'm not 50, I'm 45, and went, boom, boom, and then I was like telling you guys to break.
I've talked to some of the very top coaches in the world, and I said, you know, what is your secret? And there's just like 20 years of hard work. They say at least 10 years. You got to make a 10-year plan, and then from there on you decide if you keep on going. And if somebody can do that, if it's wheelchair racing, if it's running, if it's arts or whatever, if you're putting in the work, I believe you can achieve anything. Nothing is impossible. Beginning with Ben, what I did, we developed an 8-year plan called the vision, because every athlete, you have to have a long-term goal, I really believe. Every year we have different training goals and competition goals and life goals, with the end goal of 2020 medal at the Paralympics.
Was with bacon and Oversea.
It's going to cover the race fee and most of my food. Yeah. Good start. Now we just got to get the flight.
It's about almost $20,000 a year that he needs to invest in traveling all over the world and going to competitions, going to training camps and whatnot in order to be at that top level. He has so many people in the community that are supporting him and that are rooting for him and sponsoring him. I can't thank people enough to make it possible for Ben to do all this.
We've given him a car. We installed all the hand controls that he needs in order to operate the vehicle, and we keep it maintained for him.
I remember, man, it was the Paralympic trials. We went in, and he didn't quite have the standards yet, but he really wanted to show everybody that he's on top of his game, and he won the trials, and he was just shaking. He was like so excited about it. I barely seen him like that before. I mean, he gets excited, but that was like definitely a highlight for sure. And I'll never forget that. And he was like, thanking me and all that. And that was this year was a highlight.
For one race, I was the fastest wheelchair racer in Canada in my category. Like, you can't beat that feeling and that just knowing that happened.
He stopped by, I think, every business that supported him. He got pictures with the ownership and made sure that everybody knew that he was proud to be representing them in each one of their businesses.
I've hit some really good performances, but I know there's plenty left in the tank, right? So it's just I gotta spend the next 4 years making sure when 2020 rolls around, I am a big threat for the podium and a gold medal.
My stomach.
Lose your stomach. Lose your place. Lose your train of thought with this. Yeah, one thing that's missing at the moment is lots of loud music.
Yeah. Not losing my broken turkey right now.
Dance music. Wake up to dance music.
She especially likes to sing
Friday night,
6 in the morning.
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
You gotta have a good dance and a good disco going on.
Yeah, that's how she starts every day.
Yeah, 8 a.m.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
And my mom ever had dancing.
Very loudly.
Who's your favourite singer, Marie?
My favorite thing is Bad Boys.
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, you got to meet them.
That's just because they're cute.
Yeah.
I got keys in the car.
Don't tell your boyfriend.
So you like music, Maria?
Yes, and my butt music.
Butt music? You mean wiggling your butt?
Wiggling your butt. Speaking of butt, don't you want to put some clothes on these zombies?
Mom.
This guy's in his underwear.
No, he's naked.
Oh.
I avoided that part of the drawing.
Yeah, it's a little X-rated, the whole thing, actually. Well,
Do you have any other shows coming up, Maria?
you've got the NASCAD wearable art show.
I'm not gonna show coming up.
Which is fun, isn't it? Always fun.
Yep.
What's the name of your big dress for it?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know the
Yeah, the one. You know that
Hey,
cool one?
Marcus?
open bar dress.
Yeah.
Open bar dress.
It's a bit like, when you watch haute couture, in fashion, when you get the crazy outfits. I mean, this is really crazy.
Tonight we're on site at the Wearable Art Show. Tonight I am working as Marie's assistant and collaborating artist. We have 5 pieces tonight. She's going to be wearing her open bar dress. And we have Bess Forrestal here, Lauren, and Marie's sister Millie. Do you feel proud?
I do proud of him.
Very proud? Proud of your
my
mom
father
and your dad?
My dad, my grandfather, Tom Forrestal. I miss you so much.
So you could do a little dance tonight?
I love dancing.
You love dancing?
Days all night.
Love everyone like I love Eduardo, and love your dreams. Happy dreams in every color. Love Marie and LSD. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Marie Webb.
Perfect.
Did you like the music?
I don't lose it. I love it.
Good job.
Amazing job.
Amazing job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look at that thing. You know, it used to be a rabbit.
Is it?
Used to be a bunny.
Bunny, oh yeah.
They took your legs off.
No, no.
Held that last note for as long as I was supposed to.
Yeah!
I've never done that before.
I was very taken aback when I had first met her. I had never seen her sing before or had met her, and I think that she has something very special to offer, and it was very clear kind of the gift that she has as soon as I heard her sing. We can work really well together, and she really allows me to push her outside of her comfort zone sometimes, but she's always very inviting to criticism and to feedback, and that's kind of makes it really easy for me to be her teacher. Thinking of that kind of like grounding down and opening up, like your head's expanding, you know?
Okay.
And then you're going to get a broader sound versus just trying to sound louder, because then you're going to end up pushing.
It's just like I can't be happy when I'm feeling like I'm dragging myself through the song. We'll do a song, and usually we do it for about 2 weeks, and then when we come back to it later, we'll work on something else about the song. The technique for hitting the higher notes properly, and another time it might be, you know, kind of shaping the vowels. There's always something to work on, and she knows that, and I know that, and she knows that I know that, so.
We work quite hard when we're working, and I certainly put her through the motions, but she's very responsive and very open to learning new things.
I always sang as far back as I can remember, just like along to my dad's CDs in the truck or whatever. But I started voice when I was 5. So when I was going into grade primary, I started taking voice lessons and I never stopped.
She's definitely singing a lot of advanced repertoire. So today we were preparing for her grade 8 Royal Conservatory of Music voice exam, and there's only 10 levels, so she's definitely getting up there. A lot of the really difficult pieces that we were working on today that are Italian arias and French art songs, you know, I can give them to her and she'll come back the next week with them memorized, and that's fairly unheard of, you know, in terms of most singers that I've worked with, so.
Oh, I got a date for my recital, by the way.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
When?
September 25th, and I think that's a Sunday. I hope that's a Sunday at 2 p.m. And Dean Bradshaw wants to play for me. So
that's great.
He wants to play for me.
That's
so
great.
I don't know.
That's great that it's in the afternoon, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in my calendar.
Zoe suggested it. She was like, you have a lot of repertoire, and when I was your age, I did recitals. So it was just something cool, you know. Ever since last November, I've been working on stuff for my exam. Like, that's the same probably half dozen songs I've been working on for the last year. And it was kind of like it's all done, now you can sing whatever you want kind of thing. So that's I think, where it came from.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Good, you? Good. I have this for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Just to say thank you for...
I love flowers.
She's holding it in St. James United Church, which is the church that we go to. So the people there are quite excited. They love to hear Tara sing in church.
You can put her in front of 10,000 people to love it. So we'll tell her there's more people here than there really is.
It's always exciting watching people watch Tara for the first time. I love that look in their face, like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that voice to come out of that person.
So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Tara Sala.
If you're the parent of an autistic child, I would suggest you drop everything you're doing right now and listen to this. From November 6, 2006, The Murder of Charles Antoine Blaise. So my podcast is called The Neurodivecast. The channel is run by my friend Charlene Gagnon, who has 2 autistic sons. She messaged me asking if I wanted to do a neurodiversity self-advocacy podcast. And I said, yes, of course I'll do it. What neurodiversity is, it's the natural diversity of human minds and brains. It's a biological fact. He had been diagnosed autistic when he was 5. He was held down and drowned in his bathtub by his mother, Danielle Blaise. On the podcast, I often share blog entries from my favorite autistic activists because a lot of them have very popular blogs. So I often share those blog posts to try to bring them to a wider audience.
Social media is a perfect platform for Alex to be able to share his story and talk about autism in a way that is so important to him. You know, he's using the skills that he's learned here for audio and video and working on social media to be able to communicate.
In some ways, it's like social media allows him to connect and to give and to be a different person because, you know, maybe it's a safer kind of forum or something like that for him. But it's certainly something I've noticed in terms of you know, the power of social media when it comes to his ability to connect and to advocate.
I find all the source material for it myself. I do all the writing and producing. Charlene's... all she has to do is just be the sound engineer. And I do all the post-production as well. She just records it onto her laptop, and then I take it home and I edit it in Audacity. And then I export it as an MP3 file, I email it to her, and she uploads it.
You know, I think because of his passion, he will continue to look for new ways and new vehicles to be able to talk about autism, to educate people, and to share those stories.
For everyone who supported her, for everyone who disrespected the memory of Charles Antoine Blaise, I got this message for you. There's a special place in the 7th layer of hell for you guys. I mean that.
When I got paralyzed 10 years ago, it's kind of twisted to say, but it was the best thing that ever happened. As far as motivated, athletic, confidence-wise, night and day difference. And my life's definitely better paralyzed than it was pre-paralysis, right? I feel that way. Junior high, I'm just gonna put it nicely, was pure hell for the most part. Low self-esteem, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I may have been able to hide it, but because of the bullying and stuff I got in junior high, it really shot down my self-esteem.
There was incidents every day coming home. It would always be the same kids doing things to him every day.
I always felt lesser than a lot of people. And then when I got injured, it was a different mindset. And I guess sometimes I can seem a little cocky or like egotistical and my own biggest fan, but that's just because just what I've accomplished post-paralysis, it's really changed my whole personality and changed my whole lifestyle. Like, I care about what I do so much that I want to succeed. So, over 10 years ago, I was training for an ATV motocross race, still getting a feel for the track. First time I go up to this jump, the way it kicked me, I got thrown over the handlebars when I landed and got thrown over the ATV. It was flipping and lawn darted on me and broke my right side scapula and crushed my T5 and T6 vertebrae, severed my spinal cord, broke ribs on top of that, and I never was knocked out. I was only in a state of shock for 2 minutes, and then I checked my neck. I could feel it, so I knew that wasn't broke, but I knew my back was broke. That was a rough day and a rough night.
And you never know where you're gonna find it. Oh, you never know what you're gonna get. And you never know where you're gonna find it.
I was told I'd never race motocross again, and I told the doctor where to go and how to get there. And 10 months later, I rode a quad again, and a few months later, did a little small town race, and then the next year, I raced motocross.
They told him there at the hospital that he had a complete break and he probably wouldn't be walking again. Ben had a very good roommate in there, his first roommate, and the same thing happened to him 5 years prior to Ben. This guy could see that it was starting to hit Ben, and he said, "You're not gonna walk, so you may as well." Not even think about it. 'Cause it's a long way crawling back up. And I think if it wasn't for him, Ben would probably have to struggle with it more than he does.
The mind leads, the body follows. That's what I've learned with this injury. If you can tell yourself you can do something, you darn well do it. I scammed that quote from another paraplegic and then put that as my Facebook status and stuff. Once everybody saw that, they were like, okay, Ben's okay. Ben's okay with this. That, and I'm just in it for the parking, right? So.
What else do you like to paint?
What about these, Marie?
That? Stars, zombies, come on. Zombies or Scooby-Doo, my favorite movie. Scooby-Doo, yeah.
You also like doing, like every time there's a birthday or Christmas or something like
Yeah, it's my dad's birthday, honey.
You like celebrations.
I'm doing my teeth time.
It's the one that's called My Evil Sister.
Oh.
Good talking.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it is.
Thanks. It's the one with the stuff coming out of your brain.
When was the first time you got into art, Marie?
My first time,
I think you were about 18 months, weren't you?
No, 5.
5 months?
5 months.
I was 3. As soon as she could force us to hold a pencil.
I forced you. I didn't force. I taped it in your hand.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Here.
I didn't force, I just taped it to you.
No, I did not. I did not. I was doing what was it, physiotherapy session with her, and the lesson was I was supposed to give her 2 little blocks, and she was supposed to bang them together, and she took the little block and she rubbed it on the table, and I thought, aha, 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 aha. If you can do that, you can draw. So then I thought I'd just switch that little block up for a piece of really super soft, really dark alpha chalk. I stuck the white page of my book, sketchbook, under her, and she rubbed it on, and she saw it, and she did this response, like the way babies, like a startle response. She went, oh, kind of put her arms out and did this, ooh. And then was quite enthralled with what had happened, and she realized that this was her making the mark, and she's pretty much drew every day. Mm-hmm.
Most kids don't layer. It takes a long time before they learn to see what layering does to
Oh
it.
yeah, like it's like layers of stuff.
So it raises the interesting issue of how much was in Marie to begin with and how much she's actually learnt from her environment. And I'm not sure we know the answer to that. But
Who published the book there?
Dale Shepard wrote the book. She did all the writing and putting it all together and put the exhibition together, curated the show.
it was amazing how Marie kind of prepared for it. She was ready an hour before the show, and then she just literally took it upon herself to host 500 people in the gallery and talk to every one of them. And I was standing by the exit, and I can tell you that almost 50% of the people that left were in tears. When the gallery head said to everybody present that they hadn't chosen this show because it was about disability, but it was about the quality of the art. And that's exactly what we wanted to hear. So,
yeah, it's not that Marie has Down syndrome.
No.
It's that she's just a really great artist.
Marie's just the happiest person I've ever met.
Never babies ever
I don't
met
know how else there is to say it.
Well, when I got my Tim Hortons peel off the rim, it said, "Play again." And she said, "Wow, you get to play again." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. This is all right. We get to play again." It's a good attitude.
It's a good way to
Yeah,
Always a party. It's like living in Newfoundland.
Yeah, living at parties were
Yeah,
this is
ongoing
today.
party.
I love you, family.
Oh,
so cute.
love you too, Marie.
what I want to know is if we sell this for $100, who gets the money?
Sì, 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 sì. Non giova il sospiro, no, 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 no. Non lagrimar per me, no, 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 no. Tirsi più tuo, no, 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 no. Liquore in fida.
What is the song at the end? It's like, no. Like, what? Yeah, what was it? Yeah, that one was funny.
It's Italian.
It's like, no.
Yeah. And Tara, I dated a first-generation Italian for 2.5 years, and I have to tell you, your pronunciation is excellent.
Oh, thank you.
It's very good.
Thank you.
Initially, when she was born, we thought everything was fine, and then after about 6 weeks, we thought, there's something going on here. That's when we found out that Tara, at that time they said Tara was blind. She did in fact have a little bit of vision in one eye, 5 or 10%. It wasn't very much, but it was enough that she could function a little bit with it. So we were very watchful over her to make sure she was very careful in whatever she was doing, but really did everything that all the other kids would do till I think it was probably grade 4, grade 5, around there. She had a normal checkup with her eye doctor, and we noticed at that time that the disease that she has was getting active again.
My eyes just started acting up, and they couldn't stop it. And so I lost my vision when I was 10.
How was school, like growing up in that kind of journey? How was that?
I guess in some respects it was a little bit easier than it is now, because I'm kind of hesitant to like butt into conversations and, you know, make myself a part of things now, just because I don't want to interrupt anything. But when I was younger, you know, like it was easier for me to kind of figure out what people were up to and stuff. A thing with being visually impaired in general, or I guess any disability, is that you don't want to be treated differently for it. So you want to seem like everyone else. Like, I just don't want to stand out. I get treated like a child. I don't know if the whole "you're so innocent" thing is like my visual impairment or my face. I don't know if I have an innocent face, that's the thing. I'm very aware of myself. I like to be aware of myself and of my impact on others. And so, you know, I always want to have a positive impact whenever I can, and to always do better by myself, to be someone that I like.
It was just something amazing happening here. It was so moving.
It was.
It was just absolutely wonderful.
And your smile.
So, thank you.
Am I having an after party? You're awesome. Okay. Yes. I can hold this up forever. Like, do you remember how good my recital is? Like, can I go for dinner? I'm gonna use that forever.
I guess I first met Alex a year before he started in the program. He had applied, and it was pretty clear right away that Alex had a different way of connecting to people.
I tried to apply for the fall 2012 year, and of course we did our interviews, our interviews for the program, our application interviews, and when I got my letter back a few weeks later, I was turned down.
One of the things that we always look for is that applicant's ability to work and interact with others. You know, so one of the things that I observed was he seemed to be off in his own place as part of that interview process, not really knowing his background, not knowing that he was autistic. And, you know, it gave me a question, you know, was there something else that I was missing? And so that conversation that I had with him initially, I kind of opened the door.
I shared with him my belief that I might be autistic, but I had never been formally diagnosed. He encouraged me to pursue a formal assessment because that would greatly influence my future application to the program. That was the summer of 2012. I had my formal assessment. I had gotten my formal diagnosis. At that point, so then that fall 2012, I sent off another application for the fall of 2013.
And you could really tell that he was really trying, and he had really improved in a lot of those just, you know, social connectivity kind of skills. And then he started full-time in the program that following September.
And I was in, and the rest is history.
A lot of people want to engage in these conversations, but they don't know how to start them, and they don't know if anyone else feels the same way or has the same sort of questions, and so they keep to themselves and they don't interact and they don't talk about these big issues, you know, and a lot of that's coming from fear.
I see people just looking away because they're fearing that they could do something wrong, say something wrong, but that comes just with that not having been exposed to people with a disability.
If you don't deal with visually impaired people on a daily basis, it's really hard to know how to react to them and how to help them if they need help. Typically, people will just assume that because you're blind that you can't do things, and will start doing things for you, or will grab you and start pulling you around places, and that's not what they need. And if you see somebody who's visually impaired and you think they might be struggling, ask them first if they need help instead of just automatically assuming they do, because sometimes they don't.
I do drive. I do live on my own. I do travel on my own. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh my God, you travel? How do you do it? Does someone come with you all the time?" Oh, like I've had that happen. Some people couldn't believe I live in my own apartment, right? Like you try to educate people, and when people are very rude, you just either have to take a step back or, stand up for yourself. I know what I can and can't do, and that's simple. Run, jump, walk, and hop. Other than that, I got everything else covered.
A family friend of ours was here for Christmas dinner a few years ago. When I revealed to her that I had recently been diagnosed with autism, she goes, "Oh, really?" I'm thinking, my heart sank. Disabled people aren't looking for pity. We don't need pity. Disabled people, they are disabled primarily based on the social model of disability, not the medical model. But actually that night her behavior was also kind of odd, and it turns out she was actually drunk that night too.
I was actually talking to my one of my teachers about this today, who helps me with getting my work in Braille and stuff, and she says she gets the question a lot, "Do you know sign language?" And it's like, think about that question. Really think about it. Do you think I can't hear you? Do you need to speak loudly to me? I can hear you. That's not my problem.
I think the more that we hear people's stories who are, living with autism or whatever it may be, the more people can understand them and connect to them and see similarities and not just differences.
I think there is something to be said for this new kind of wave of inspiration porn, as we call it, and people feeding off of this idea of, there's these people that have been given these challenges in life, and anything that they do is amazing, and really they want to be rewarded for things that they've had to work hard for.
You've probably seen certain online posts or memes, things they say. One well-known one is they have a prosthetic limb and they're doing something that you don't normally expect them to be able to do, and then it has some text underneath it that says, "So what's your excuse?" So the idea is, if they can do it with their obvious disability, then you can do it too. When you see these stories, these viral stories about this girl asking this boy with Down syndrome to the prom, the story is inevitably focused on the person asking the kid with Down syndrome to the prom, whereas the person with Down syndrome is little more than a prop or an object. That is inspiration porn right there. People with disabilities do not exist for the purpose of inspiring able-bodied people or making them feel good about themselves.
All of my athletes, they want to see more kids get involved, and that's what needs to happen. But in order to do that, we need to get them into the media, into the newspapers. Kids will see it. They need those idols to look up. It's like in hockey, they look up to Sid the kid, but the kids with a disability, who do they look up to?
The thing is that we're sort of like a minority group, and so it's something that people think about, in terms of improving things, but I don't really think that people understand what it is that we need. I couldn't speak for everyone really, but I'm not sure that they actually ask us.
What should be happening more often is that the non-autistic parents, professionals, and experts, they should be the ones seeking us out. They should come, ideally, we'd like them to come to us instead of us coming to them. But until that happens, I kind of have to go to them because, well, I'm not willing to sit around and waiting for them to come to me.
It's okay to ask about how we got injured, in my case, but not everyone wants to tell. You first should build a conversation just to see, and when you phrase it, you ask, how did you get injured? Not how did you end up in a wheelchair, how did you get crippled?
Generally, just act naturally and see the human being and not the wheelchair or the cane or whatever. I think the more we have people with disabilities out there in the community participating, that barrier will eventually go away, that people don't feel uncomfortable.
Do you think you're gonna do art your whole life, Maria?
Yeah.
You can't see yourself doing anything else?
I'm relying on it for my pension.
We just really kind of don't go too far in the future.
I think we're just kind of enjoying the ride, watching her.
Marie isn't looking anywhere past Halloween right now.
Yeah,
so.
that's all we're doing, Halloween.
She'll just do whatever she needs to do.
Yeah, there's things we have to figure out, but I like that.
I mean, she's not going to stop doing this, so it's always going to be interesting to see what she does.
When I think about Alex going through our program and watching him grow and develop through that, and now to see him out in industry, employed, doing work in the industry, and you know, and inspiring great storytelling for people with autism. It doesn't get any better than that.
I see what she's gone through and what she's done in her life, and I'm amazed at it, and I'm amazed that she can do what she does, and that she never is brought down by the fact that she doesn't have vision.
I'm very proud of Ben, and he is an amazing boy, or I guess a young man now, and I think that's it.
Got a lot of kind of general ambitions, but I just want to be able to live life and enjoy every day.
When I die, when they bury me and do my eulogy, I want to be remembered for one thing and one thing only, that whoever met me as someone that was the hardest working athlete they ever met, and I never quit.
It's important to change our way of thinking and how we give people like Tara a challenge, because she'll take it, you know, and she certainly doesn't see anything in her way, so I don't see why anyone else should see anything in her way.
Focus on the person, focus on the human being, and then they will respect you. And just as I want to be respected and be known for the person who I am.
Baby, let's go home. Baby, let's go home. Where the pantry's full and the fire is warm. Baby, let's go home.